The world moves quickly, and most days it feels as if everything around us is speeding up while the mind is slowing down. Notifications, expectations, the pressure to always be productive, the fear of missing out, the fear of falling behind. Even when nothing is happening, the mind imagines noise. Yet somewhere beneath all that noise is a quieter place, a steadier place, a place that does not depend on trends or timelines. That place has been explored for thousands of years by people who faced conflict, uncertainty, and chaos, just like we do today. These people learn to cultivate inner strength the same way you strengthen a muscle, through steady, simple daily habits. Their approach is known to us as Stoicism, but in practice it feels more like coming home to yourself. Imagine waking up each morning with a mind that is not immediately pulled into the whirlwind of the world. Imagine starting the day from a place of clarity instead of confusion. The ancient Stoics never promised a life free from problems. They promised something better, the ability to face anything with a calm and unshakable mind. What follows in these moments together is not a lecture and not a list of rules. It is a gentle walk through practices that train the mind to stay steady even when circumstances change, even when emotions rise, even when life moves in unexpected directions. 10 habits, drawn from ancient wisdom and shaped for modern life, each one serving as a small anchor to keep you centered. The first habit is the foundation upon which all the others rest. It is the practice of focusing only on what you can control. This idea, taught clearly by Epictetus, is not a distant philosophical puzzle but a daily experience. Most of the stress we carry comes from trying to reshape things we never had the power to change, the behavior of other people, the thoughts in someone else's mind, the outcomes we hope for but cannot guarantee. The moment you begin shifting your energy from the uncontrollable to the controllable, life stops feeling like a battle against the universe and starts feeling like a cooperation with reality. Picture a person waking up and immediately worrying about how others will perceive them today. Their worth becomes tied to external approval. Their emotions rise and fall depending on whether someone praises, ignores, or criticizes them. Their day is no longer theirs, it is a reaction to forces outside their influence. Now picture another person who begins the day with the quiet recognition that only their thoughts, choices, and actions belong to them. Everything else is weather passing through. They still participate in life, but their peace does not depend on how every moment goes. The world moves, but inside they remain steady. This habit is not mastered once. It is practiced moment by moment, and with time it becomes the backbone of emotional strength. The second habit rises gently from the first. It is the habit of journaling your thoughts before the world influences you. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most powerful men in history, began his days writing privately. He was not writing for anyone else, not writing to impress, not writing to create a masterpiece. He wrote to see his own mind clearly. Imagine doing that today. Before the phone lights up, before responsibilities pull you outward, you sit with yourself for a few minutes and write down what you think, what you fear, what you plan, what you hope for. The point is not perfect grammar or elegant sentences. The point is honesty. When you journal before the world touches you, you anchor yourself in your own voice. You create a boundary between your inner world and external influences. Throughout the day, you begin recognizing which thoughts came from you and which were shaped by comparison, pressure, or fear. Journaling is not about solving every problem. It is a way of watching your mind with compassion. In modern terms, it is mindfulness in written form. Over time, this simple morning ritual strengthens your ability to act with intention instead of reacting out of habit. The third habit is one the Stoics value deeply, practicing voluntary discomfort. It sounds strange at first. Why choose discomfort when life already provides enough of it on its own? Seneca understood that avoiding every form of discomfort makes the mind fragile. When people avoid cold, avoid silence, avoid hunger, avoid hard conversations, avoid change, they become dependent on comfort. That dependency weakens resilience. Voluntary discomfort does not mean suffering for no reason. It means occasionally stepping out of comfort so that your mind remembers its strength. Maybe it's taking a cold shower, or walking instead of driving, or fasting for a short period, or choosing a harder task instead of the easy one. Whatever form it takes, the purpose is simple: to teach the mind that you can endure more than you think. When discomfort is chosen, it becomes training. When discomfort arrives uninvited, the mind feels prepared instead of overwhelmed. Modern life sometimes gives the illusion that comfort is the path to happiness. Stoicism suggests the opposite: a little discomfort, practiced with intention, builds a mind that cannot be easily shaken. The fourth habit is the practice of grounding yourself in the present moment. While this idea appears in many modern teachings, its roots stretch far back into Stoic thought. The past cannot be changed, the future is unknown, but the present moment is always accessible. The Stoics encourage the practice of returning to what is happening now, not what has happened before or what might happen later. Even a single deep breath can bring you back. When you truly inhabit the present, problems shrink to their actual size, decisions become clearer, and emotions loosen their grip. Modern books like The Power of Now echo this same idea with different language. The goal is not to erase the past or ignore the future. The goal is not letting your mind drift so far from the current moment that you lose contact with your own life. When you are here, fully here, you see more, you think more clearly, and you begin to experience life instead of racing through it. The fifth habit is practicing emotional pause before reaction. In ancient times, reacting in anger or fear could lead to conflict, danger, or regret. Today, the consequences are different but equally impactful. A message sent in frustration, a decision made in anxiety, a sharp word spoken from stress can create problems that take days or weeks to repair. Stoicism teaches something beautifully simple: pause. Even a 2-second pause between stimulus and response can prevent a cascade of unnecessary conflict. In the pause, you see the situation more clearly. You recognize that emotions are temporary visitors, not permanent truths. Imagine someone cutting you off in traffic or writing a rude comment online. The immediate impulse might be anger or defensiveness. But the pause allows a new perspective: maybe they acted carelessly, maybe they're having a difficult day, maybe the situation is too small to give your peace away. You begin to choose your responses rather than being dragged by emotional impulses. This single habit can transform relationships, decision-making, and inner stability. The sixth habit is one the Stoics carried everywhere they went: remembering the shortness of life. This is not meant to be morbid or fearful. It is meant to awaken gratitude. When you remember that time is limited, small annoyances lose their power. Resentment feels heavy and unnecessary. You begin treating each day not as something to survive but as something to notice. You value people more. You listen more carefully. You waste less time on things that drain your spirit. Seneca wrote about the tragedy of spending life preparing to live instead of actually living. Many people wait for the perfect moment to feel fulfilled, to make changes, to pursue dreams, to show love. But the perfect moment rarely arrives. Stoicism invites you to live today with presence, awareness, and appreciation. When you see life as brief and precious, the mind becomes grounded in what truly matters. The seventh habit is cultivating clarity in your values. Without clear values, life becomes a reaction to whatever is loudest, most urgent, or most tempting. People find themselves saying yes to things they dislike, chasing goals they never chose, or living in ways that do not feel honest. The Stoics encouraged people to know what kind of person they wanted to be, not through dramatic declarations but through everyday choices. Do you value kindness, discipline, patience, courage, simplicity? When you know your values, decisions become easier. Temptations lose their pull. You stop competing with others because you finally know what game you are playing. In modern terms, this is like having an inner compass. Instead of drifting, you are guided by something steady. Instead of chasing approval, you pursue alignment. The world becomes far less confusing when your values become clear, because they form the backbone of your character. The eighth habit is choosing your environment intentionally. The Stoics understood that people absorb the attitudes and behaviors of those around them. If you surround yourself with negativity, chaos, or distractions, your mind slowly mirrors those patterns. If you choose environments that encourage reflection, discipline, and peace, your mind grows in that direction. This might mean spending less time with people who drain you. It might mean reducing digital noise. It might mean creating a small morning or evening ritual to reset your thoughts. Modern life is filled with invisible environments, social media feeds, news cycles, online communities that shape your mood, beliefs, and energy. The Stoic habit is to ask quietly, is this environment helping me grow, or is it pulling me away from who I want to become? When you begin shaping your surroundings with intention, you realize how much power you have over your inner state. The 9th habit is practicing gratitude as a discipline. Gratitude is not just a warm feeling, it is a way of training the mind to recognize what is already good. The Stoics were not blindly optimistic. They were realists who understood that even in difficult times, something worth appreciating always exists. When you consciously notice the good, your breath, your relationships, your abilities, the chance to begin again, you shift your mind from scarcity to abundance. Gratitude helps the mind return to calmness when stress tries to pull it away. It strengthens resilience by reminding you of what remains, not just what is missing. And when practiced consistently, gratitude creates a quieter, stronger inner world, one that is less vulnerable to external storms. The 10th habit is embracing challenges as opportunities for inner growth. This idea appears strongly in modern books like The Obstacle is the Way, but its roots trace back to the Stoics themselves. Every challenge has two paths, the outer struggle and the inner response. You cannot always avoid the outer struggle, but you can always shape your inner response. When something difficult happens, the automatic reaction is often frustration, fear, or avoidance. But the Stoic habit is to ask, what can this teach me? How can this strengthen me? What part of myself is being trained right now? Maybe a setback builds patience. Maybe a disagreement builds communication. Maybe a failure builds humility. Maybe uncertainty builds courage. When you begin to see challenges as teachers rather than enemies, the mind becomes incredibly stable. Life stops feeling like a battlefield and starts feeling like a classroom. And each challenge, no matter how unwanted, becomes part of your growth. These 10 habits are not complicated. They are small, daily practices that quietly strengthen the mind from the inside out. The Stoics believed that discipline is not about grand gestures or dramatic achievements. Discipline is built in the everyday moments, the pause before reacting, the choice to focus on what you control, the willingness to sit with discomfort, the habit of grounding yourself in the present, the intention to live with clarity and gratitude. As we reach the end of this journey together, imagine carrying even one of these habits into your life. You do not need to master all 10 at once. You simply begin where you are. A small pause. A single journal entry. One act of chosen discomfort. A quiet moment of gratitude. One deep breath that returns you to the present. Over time, these small acts accumulate. They reshape thought patterns. They build emotional strength. They create an inner calm that does not depend on perfect circumstances. The Stoics faced wars, illness, exile, loss, uncertainty. Yet they discovered a way of living that allowed them to remain steady, compassionate, and grounded. Their wisdom survives not because it is ancient, but because it is timeless. It speaks to the human experience in every era. It reminds us that although we cannot control the world, we can shape the way we meet the world. In your journey from this moment onward, may your mind grow quieter and your heart grow stronger. May your days be guided by intention rather than impulse. May challenges become teachers, habits become anchors, and the present moment become a place where you feel at home. And may you continue building an unshakable mind, slowly, gently, one simple habit at a time.
What's good? Welcome to the Literary Listening Channel. Got the classics on the audio, we flip the public page, summarize the self-help gurus and their modern age. And we go chapter by chapter through the greatest novels now. So hit subscribe to Literary Listening. Yeah, hit subscribe to Literary Listening. Be a part of the community that we are building. Subscribe to Literary Listening.